Hey, welcome back, everybody. And it's really awesome to see that there's a lot of folks that start with the main video, but yet go to the video shorts and catching up on the chapters. Those are all listed below. Thank you for always watching. And well, it's always fun. It is, there's no script here. The good part is we go through this every single week and you get really solid metrics with no marketing. There we go. Now, here's the thing. So existing home sales rose a little bit last month, but yet everything is still kind of sliding horizontally. It's not going down necessarily, but it's not going great upwards. We're looking at about a 1.7, 1.8% appreciation year over year. When we take a look at that, it is definitely not the double-digit appreciation that we have seen in the past few years. Not uncommon, as we're seeing a lot of people kind of pull on the sidelines. We're going to go over the metrics. We're going to go over new construction. We're going to go over foreclosures, what to expect, what to look for the upcoming months. And more importantly, let's talk about rate. All right. So as we go through this and as we talk about what's going on, if we take a look at this, we have some super interesting news. In fact, let me blow this up. When we take a look, it says, according to the National Association of Realtors, this is on a national level, NAR sales were also 4.1% higher than the year earlier with easing mortgage rates and better affordability. However, Lawrence Yun continues to say that improving housing affordability is also contributing to the increase in sales. Yun added that the inventory levels are near a 5-year high, but remain below COVID averages. Now, I agree with that. Many homeowners are financially comfortable, resulting in fewer distressed properties and forced home sales. That's super important to understand, because what he is saying is, hey, listen, we've got more than 70% of the mortgages that are financed, I guess that would be this one and the same thing, are 4% and lower. And so they have not only an equity position, but they have a very low payment threshold. We've had a couple of clients that we've talked about, hey, is it a good time to sell? What should we do? You know, hey, should I keep my home as a rental? Here's my mortgage rate. And we talk about it and what makes the best business decision for them. Funny enough, out of those three, the recommendation was not to make a move. That is no different than what Mr. Yun is saying as we take a look at what people are doing on the big scheme of things. Now, some people are saying, George, what the heck would you tell sellers that for if your job is to sell real estate? Well, because we're here to give you solid information. That's why. Not self-serving. It's what's best for you. And that is something you need to really take a look at. And does that make sense for you? All right. So as we get back into our chart, let's take a little bit of, let's take a look at the news and what's going on. Existing home sales rose last month, as we said in our initial. Now look at this. So our 30-year mortgage has been heading in a downward trend. And you might remember, funny enough, if you go back to earlier this year and even last year at about this time, we talked about what to expect. And that what to expect was it started bringing down rates. And we said that, hey, we were going to be bobbling around the mid sixes, and then we were going to hit into the low sixes, subject to what the Feds did. Then they might pop back up again just a little bit like they did. We're heading back down again. We may, no guarantees, if we do, we may dip into the high fives. It'd be very brief, and it's going to come back up again. Very consistent with the metrics, so you can, again, really make good decisions. We're going to see this trend all the way through, in my humble opinion, all the way through January until our spring market, which is going to be kind of late February. I really see that our rates are going to be staying at about this level, subject to what the Feds do. If the Feds do another 0.25% rate drop in December, which I'm not expecting that, they may. If they don't, then we will definitely stay in the low sixes. I think we're at like 6.12 this morning. We'll double check on that one. But anyway, let's get back on the road. All right, mortgage rates seeing some underlying pressure ahead of inflation data. That is 100% accurate. That's kind of what we were just talking about. When we take a look at Freddie's super cool here. Look at that, a half a point. We're a half a point less than we were at last year at this time. That is super important. And we did our little bar graph to give you an idea where we were at last year, which is the arrow on the left versus where we're at on the right. Now, all things considered, this time of year is my favorite time of year to buy a home. Why? Less competition from buyers. A lot of them are starting to do other things. Sellers are a lot more motivated at this time because they want to button things up before the end of the year. They want to have their plan for the new year. And so anytime that on the seller side, anytime a buyer comes through, hey, look, they're not tire kickers. They're actually looking for a home. Pay attention to them. Just make sure your agent is absolutely following up with them and seeing what it takes to bring them to the table. No idea is too ridiculous to consider. Remember that, especially as we get closer to December. Mid-December-ish is when we will really start to fall off on our market because you have, well, naturally Christmas, New Year's, then everybody kind of plays the recovery during January. End of February, March, our market starts to kick off again. All right, so if you're looking at purchasing a home today, there is no better time. You have more homes available for you today. Interest rates have not been this low in a couple of years today. So those things are all working into your favor. Plus, sellers are more motivated. You might say, George, how is that even possible? Well, that's super simple. If we open this back up again, we took a look at what is on market. So right now, we are 10 days more average on market than we were this time last year. Plus, last year, we were at a 98% list to sales price, whereas right now, we're at 96. So technically, 4% off of what people are looking at as far as a list to sale. You might say, George, what does that mean? Super simple. If I have a $100,000 purchase, if I last year sold at 98%, that means I listed it $100,000, I sold at $98,000. Today, I listed $100,000. I'm selling at $96,000. So we're seeing a small adjustment in the average what is sold. It doesn't mean that your home went down 4% in value. That's just the average of what is being sold. Okay, but it also helps us with trend. That's not market value. That is trend, and that is super important to keep in mind because we're staying on market longer. Now, another question is asked is, are we still seeing multiple offers? The answer is yes, we are. For well-priced homes, you're seeing multiple offers. Why? Because multiple offers will absolutely, without a doubt, give you the absolute highest and best price with the best terms possible as a seller. But you have to price yourself accordingly. And sometimes the list price or a market value and a list price, sometimes are just two different numbers. And that's okay. Just understand what brings the buyers to the table. Because if you keep the longer your home is on market, the fewer dollars you're going to have in your pocket and the more you have to concede as a seller. For a buyer, that's a target-rich environment right now. And in fact, let's talk about that. Let's head over to our other chart here. If we take a look at it on top, average the last 7 days, look, we had 613 homes that came on market. But down below, we had 986 that went off market, okay? What does that mean? That means that we are taking off more homes than are coming on, which is good and seasonally normal. The key thing is when you take a look up there at the 779 homes that did a price reduction, okay? Those are your target-rich environment for a buyer, okay? The key is get them before they do their price reduction because otherwise the seller will anchor on that price. If, however, you're a seller, super smart. Keep that level of energy going with the buyers, doing succinct price reductions, not just big out of the blue, massive whoppers. Do structured price reductions, get in front of the buyers multiple times so that they say, I saw that again. Hey, let's go take a look at this. Okay. That's the benefit versus the one shot versus multiple smaller steps, which allows you to also ensure you're not leaving any dollars on the table. All right. Getting off my soapbox. So when we take a look at it, all of these numbers here, situation normal for seasonality, absolutely 100% spot on. When we take a look at, again, 2019 versus 2025, look at that. Shockingly enough, everything is very similar. We have a little bit more inventory on some of the product, but at the end of the day, we're actually doing quite well. Again, super accurate. Like and subscribe. Do us a solid. Just let us know that you like what you see. When we talk about the Northwest MLS and the true metrics, what's really going on. All right, here we go. We've got our green chart, which is the same month of October, year over year. And then, of course, our year to date. So when we blow these numbers up, if we take a look at that upper chart, it says here we have 45% more homes than we did this time last year. Seasonally normal as we start drawing that down. We've had more homes this year consistently all the way through, anywhere from 15% all the way up to, I think it was 60% at the high. And then, of course, when we take a look at the actual pended, we're up 1% on overall number of pended over last year and 0.1%. So we're almost dead nut of where we were at last year. Now, some folks are asking, they're saying, George, is this a problem? And let me ask you a question. You go out and ask anybody out there and say, hey, in 2019, was there a problem in the market? Was there a crash? Was there any issue? And people will tell you, no, not at all. In fact, you can go to my channel, go back to 2019 and take a look at what was happening. And you're going to see it is very similar. If you look at last year, our numbers are very similar. We may not be going down. We may not be doing our double-digit appreciation, but we are just definitely just kind of holding our own, okay? And that is super important. There are some areas that they're seeing massive increases in fact, they are seeing double-digit appreciation, and those are very pocketed areas, and I can share those later if you want. All right, when we take a look at the lower chart, let's what happened in October. October said, look, we had 321 homes less sold than we did last year at this time. Okay. When we take a look at it, we have 326 more pended. Well, that's a big deal because as we take a look at it, things are starting to balance out. Now, because October actually was a pretty good month, we're going to see those closings happening in November. So our sold numbers, because we're always looking in the rearview mirror, we're going to see those shortly. However, when we take a look at the other numbers, okay, pended, active, pending inspection, those are all dynamic. Those are happening in real time. And those are what help us to see what's going on with trend. Anyway, let's get back to the chart. All right. So when we take a look at this and then we pop over and we say, okay, that's all fine and dandy, but what's our actual sales price? Our price is going up. The answer that you can see here is, well, yes, they are. So we were 2.41% higher for the month of October than we were the prior year. Year to date, our prices, average sales price is up 1.1%. So again, there's no land speed records here, but we're not going down. We're heading in that still very positive direction. We're still one of the 5 sweet spots across the United States. Super important to keep in mind that our market is doing well. Sure, we had of the Amazon 30,000 people, they said we're going to be laid off. I hope nobody's watching this. It's there. We only had, I think it was 2,300 or 2,600 of those folks. Nowhere near that catastrophic number that was happening worldwide. So it's normal. Tighten up the belt. I swear they do this every 3 years. I think it's a cycle. A lot of the text, that's just my humble opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like every 3 years. All right. So as we pop over and we start taking a look at a sales trend, since the graph says what is that? Worth 1,000 words? Yeah, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Look at that. Seasonally normal. We're heading back up. If you take a look at the circle on the left-hand side, October straight up, you see that that is going up. As you see here, it is following that very same pattern. That pattern, I can take you back years and years and years. This is a normal seasonal cycle because the November numbers come out, you're going to see it dip down like you do on the left-hand side there. Situation normal. Same thing with new construction. Look at this. Now, again, when we take a look at these numbers, let's blow those up for you. Top side here, we're looking at year to date. They are still and have been all year long in the negative. Hey, we have sold less. We have less pended. Sometimes they had more coming on sale. Here, they're saying they have less now. Active is up 21%, which actually is only about 460 homes-ish. But it's better than it was last week and the week before. They keep improving. We're seeing better and better homes or numbers from the builders who are getting more and more sales, even though the increase in resales has happened. And what's super important is that had we not seen a big influx in resale homes, the new construction side would absolutely be killing it. And the only reason that they're suffering is because we have a lot more resale homes, and people are gravitating more towards the resale homes, better locations, better lots, maybe not be new construction, but a lot of them have been fully updated. Remember, sellers, 78% or 72% of sellers want a turnkey home. They do not want a fixer. They want a turnkey home. Keep that in mind as you are considering your alternatives to marketing, marketing your home. All right, so when we come back here, we take a look at the lower chart. We were down 97 homes for the month of October, year over year, but we also saw 59 more homes that went pending. So again, our numbers are actually looking really good. And all things considered, it's what I would consider all year long, 100% situation normal. Okay, when we take a look at this chart, again, very consistent. We drew that line to show you exactly where we're at from last year at this time, which is on the left-hand side with the circle, and where we're at today. In other words, home sales for new construction are up price-wise. Average sold is up almost 10%, 9.5% to be exact. When we take a look at it year to date, it's up 3.5% year over year. So our numbers and our sales volume are still chugging along. They will continue to do so. One important thing about new construction, I kid you not now, is the perfect time to buy new construction if that's what you want, okay? Make sure you're working with a real estate broker that fully understands how to negotiate with builders and how to get the best terms. Yes, there is a technique to it. Yes, there are specific things you need to ask, certain things you can leverage to get a better deal. And that means, $10,000, $20,000 of difference, up to, I should say, $10,000 to $20,000 of additional benefits other than what's being out there. As a site agent, look, they represent the builder. Their goal and their bonus is based on volume and how much can they save a builder, especially this time of year. So keep that in mind. All right, let's pop back here. Let's talk a little bit about, yes, foreclosures. Now, what's super important about foreclosures? Well, we don't have that many. We have only 127, and actually 7 of those are, yes, falsely put in there. But look at our numbers here. When we take a look at the middle chart, we had 20 more homes available today than we did this time last year. We have 11 more newer homes, or 11 more listings that came on market in the month of October. Pretty nuts. Again, this is 3/4 of Washington state. All right. When we take a look at the solds, we had 7% or 7 more homes that sold than this time last year. Not unexpected, considering we had, a few more homes than we did last year. With that pending, we're up 3 more than we did last year for the same month of October. Year to date on the right, look, the nut at the end of the day, we have 62 more homes this year that have sold. We had basically, 430 homes or 65 more that actually were listed than this time last year. That's peanuts. That's super small numbers. We used to see 65 in just one city before. So to have that many, 3/4 of Washington state, that's pretty much nothing. Anyway, the key is our market is doing very well. We're still a very solid market. There are some areas that are still, going up and down, not significantly. It just depends on how aggressive the sellers are when they come on market and how their home is presented to the buyer world out there. Anyway, if you have any questions, put it down below. Tell me where you're watching from. If you have any questions, put it down below. We will answer you normally in 30 minutes, except for on Sunday. And in the meantime, smash that subscribe button. Show us some love. And in the meantime, you guys have an absolutely beautiful week, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.